everyone, friends of Hair to Be. Today I'm so happy because with me there is a special guest who is Sophie Xiang. I hope to pronounce your surname correctly.
You got it.
And Sophie is a wildflower photographer from southwestern Australia, from Perth. And today we're going to have a chat with Sophie. Thank you very much, Sophie, for accepting our invitation and to be here with us.
It's my absolute pleasure. I really love a photographer, Australian native of Wildflower, but also I'm really enjoying to share my journey and my passion. So it was really nice to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you too. So we're going to start because we are curious about your story and how you ended up in photography. So have you ever been passionate about photography in your life? And just tell us. We are curious to hear from you.
Well, I know you're going to ask me these questions, but you may be disappointing because my answer probably is no. I've never really imagined myself being an artist or photographer, if you know what I mean. Not really, but I can tell you something. I have always loved the arts. Like
Yeah.
I love arts in general, like a painting, exhibitions. I like to read some of the artists, the famous artists, the stories, biographers. I know a lot, but I'm very much my background is a medical background. And I've
Uh-huh.
never actually imagined myself like being a photographer. That is actually definitely is not in my sort of like
So you couldn't
imagination.
imagine that.
No, not really. So
Amazing.
it's a surprise. It's a
It's
surprise. And yes, people always said that you're never too old to learn and you're never too old to dream. And I think that's probably about true because I really started in my later year life. It's like a mature age and not when I was young. But it was all accidentally, sort of like it just happened to me. And so do you want me actually talking about how I got in?
yeah, sure. What did it trigger your passion?
Triggered
I'm
me,
so
yeah.
curious about.
Good questions, actually. Good questions because um, when my children all finished high school and I started having a little bit of free time, so the next things I do is every weekend we just
Yeah,
join a personal hiking group. So we actually every weekend we just go out and walk, and then we actually meet people, and we have a cup of coffee and chat, and
yeah,
then it was a great social life, and I enjoy and I get to know lots of about Perth. But occasionally we also go to a little bit of further, like countryside or bushland.
yeah,
So yes, on one of these days, and I always have my phone with me, and I'll take some photos and post on some Facebook and just have a bit of fun. What do we do? Like everyone else, like the social things. And then one day I started to notice the flower, and they're so
yeah.
pretty, but they're actually all the weeds. I didn't know that time. I just photograph all the weeds, and I was like, wow, I never paid much attention. So the lady, she was actually working with me. She's actually in a naturalist club, and she's have a great knowledge with the wildflower. And she
Wow.
actually saw me photograph all the weeds. She said, "Oh, come, Sophie. I'm going to show you something, and like a
Something
native
better.
flower." And I just keep looking. I'm thinking about what does it mean, native flower? I never even know. I don't really understand the identification of a native flower. What does it mean? So I kind of like had these big questions in my head. I sort of, wow, I've never heard about this word. I know some people, usually say indigenous people, native people, but you don't, I just never heard about this word. It's a native flora. But she said, oh, come, I'll show you. So I was very lucky because my introduction, so it was a very good one. She showed me that day. I remember very clearly, the blue lady orchids and
Yeah,
Kalamata
sure.
coronata, And
Yeah.
so she said, this is a native orchid. And actually, I thought, wow, that was an eye open. I have never lined my eyes on anything like this, so exquisite, if you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
the colors, the details, I think it's the details, it really actually got me. And I just couldn't believe this little tiny little flower have such a fun shape and the details. It's almost like she said, "Oh, this is a blue lady orchid." I said, "Oh, I can understand why it's lady because it doesn't look like the lady where it is a crown and sit in the middle of the petals. You know what I mean?" So this is actually the first time I come across with a native flower, and I did ask her that day. I said, "Can you explain for me what is a native flower?" She said, well, it just means that they only grow in Australia, or some of them is native to Western Australia. So it's only growing here. And we have probably predominantly about 60% of the wildflower to like old Australia. So Western Australia is got the most of them. And I was listening that day. So I did a bit of Google when I get home. I started to realize, wow, this is the kind of area I have never got into. I don't know any botanical name of any flower. Probably only things I know is a Christmas tree. You know the Christmas tree? Because
Yes.
the first year when I come to Australia, and I was driven with my landlord, and he was driving me on the freeway. I see this beautiful orange tree. I just
Wow.
asked, I said, what is this trees? He said, oh, this is our own Australia Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
I remember that. I remember that so clearly. So that was probably the first tree, and then the last tree I know because that time I know it's a Christmas tree, but I've never really got into the native trees or flowers or anything like that. So I was actually that's probably the only things I know, but the rest I never thought a lot of it. But until I really started get into. And then I started actually realizing, and so she said you should join in the Wildflower Society. And I said, oh, what is that? That this is something more and more to it because I never really realized that there's so
Something
many
more.
people actually in the Wildflower. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. And I said, oh, okay. So I look at it, everything's to happen so quick. But I just have really got me hooked on, because it was such a fascinating area. The more I actually see the wildflower, more I just love it. So I walk with a lot of people. And I remember the first day I joined the Northern Territory, the branches walk, because they don't want to do it every Saturday walk. And I remember I got there and everyone looked at me. It was a bit strange because I wasn't really dressed properly. I'm not a bushwalk. And so I joined them. And first flowers I saw, Dave is the one very knowledgeable. He knows every flowers, the name, the scientific name. And I learned a lot from him. And I said, oh, what is this? He just gave me this old scientific name. And I remember the moment I just looked him, I said, are you talking English? I literally, I was just really stumbled. I didn't understand what he said because the scientific name is so hard. It's like,
Yeah.
it's lots of them is Latin, and I don't really understand it. So I just sort of, are you talking English? He said, everyone's laughing. And I sort of, That is really funny, but my real question is, am I actually going to be loving flowers and I have to learn another language? And that kind of like that I realized this is a kind of huge challenge. But from that day, I started to realize that okay, this is scientifically is really difficult. Let alone as I just asked him, so if this is any other name. So he always gave me the English common name. But we actually developing this relationship for a long period of time, like 4 years. So I did work every Saturday with him. And so what I do, I use the Google Voice. I ask him to actually recording it. So the name will just come up and then I screenshot them. And so I got the proper name. But that is actually even more funny. The thing is, I'm starting posting my photos in the Wildflower Society page. Although I was only just an early start, sometimes I literally just post the weeds. People say, oh, this is a weed, but I didn't really know any different at that time. But then next minute, I could actually posting something exactly the correct scientific name. People probably just started don't understand how I got these things because I asked him to, the Google video for me. Then I actually like I learned it that way. So it was a kind
Yeah.
of funny journey started. Yeah.
Yeah. There are so many tools now for learning and also for identifying the species. So
Yeah.
before always we are more facilitated into also to know the scientific name because there are so many applications that can
I think
identify
that
the plant
scientific
species.
is still really hard for me, but
Yeah.
somehow because I'm so passionate about it and I keep learning, and I actually remember the most of the common name. So
Yeah.
once I got a common name, it is okay because you can check the common name, then you can get the other name,
That's
the
that.
proper scientific
Exactly.
name. So it's sort of a help. I mean, like it's a long journey to learn all these things. It doesn't happen one day. You really have to just keep going. You get it some days, you don't get it some days, but doesn't really matter. As long as you
Yeah.
just keep going. And you
Yeah.
probably end of the day, maybe 20 years down the track, I will get there. I don't know.
So, and how did you learn to make those fantastic photos that you make? Are really stunning shots, and
Yeah.
so I wonder how you learn just yourself, or you attended a course, or yeah, I'm curious about.
Well, mobile phone photographer is actually quite entrepreneur. I mean, there's nobody really called mobile phone photographer. And 5 years ago, everyone have a phone. Everyone just takes snapshot, but not really many people really actually try to say use a mobile phone, take a good
Exactly.
photo. They just think that's the camera job. And
Yeah.
I guess and I'm one of these people. Once I actually started, and I'm always aiming for high, and I want to get better and better. So I started just doing a lot of, sort of a research along the way. Like sometimes, I get into the YouTube or Google and to
Yeah.
actually learn your mobile phone the features because your mobile phone have a lot of features and you really have quite a few cameras. You really need to know what they do for you. And also, of course, and then you can actually follow some other artists. They also use a mobile phone. I'm in one of the mobile phone group. I remember the early stage, and just to see what other people do, what they actually can actually photograph different things. But I think end of the day, photographer, it doesn't really matter what tools you use. It may be the different tools, but you still really got to learn the fundamental behind the camera, like lighting. Is very important. It doesn't matter for camera or for phone. It's the same. You need to have
It's
a
the
good
same, yeah.
light. Yes, and golden hours, those things are very essential. But you also have to sort of like learn to figure out the composition. Composition is also is the main thing. So that's where make your photo stands out. Because
Yeah.
everyone actually, your eyes see the different things, your brain process it differently. So your composition is really different. And with me, the initial conversation, I have one very simple things, so like a reference myself, because I always just think if I put my phone there, framing them, if this photo is really good enough to put on the wall, that is pretty good. That's my composition. And so it worked. And also, eventually, I started developing these things. My photographer, I do lots of close-up photos. And the more close-up, the more the flowers, the details you get to know, it's more fascinating. Literally, like I wouldn't say myself as a micro photographer because your mobile phone is limited to that. But you can close up, and it's actually showed lots of details. And I find that there's details, it is actually fascinating. Once you get into, you go like, oh, wow, wow, I didn't see that one because you can easily just walking past without knowing all these details. So it gets close. It is something from very early stage. And I kind of sort of just figured out, and I need to actually show that flower details. But also, actually, I also have a sort of way of thinking about people like people take photos like a portrait, that sort of
Yeah.
photo like a for person, and then
Yeah.
eyes is always the place that people want to portray them, but a flower's the same. There is the details in the middle probably is the always one you want to presenting. And if you actually thinking you photographer flowers like a photographer, a beautiful lady, it just absolutely worked. Because when you think about it, flowers is the most beautiful things, and they just so perfectly the colors and patterns and everything. But why they're so beautiful? They're like a beautiful woman, and they're graceful. They are really like they really everything is balanced about them. So it's a kind of flowers if you want to actually presenting that side of the world, and that is kind of something you actually try to make them more beautiful. Like yeah, that's how I think. Every time I photograph, I say, oh, this is a I have a name like the super girl and middle Supergirl and a small star. Like some of the flowers that they're just a superstar, like some of the eucalypts. They're just nothing you can do. The colors
Yeah.
and the brightness, they're superstar. And some of the Banksia does that too. There's such a big flowers. They just you can't like miss them. So there's some of the flowers are like it's like a middle star. They're very pretty, but they're not that showy. Then you get this like a small star. They're really pretty, like a lot of orchids does. I mean, the orchids like they have a size. Most orchids are very tiny, but the details is just amazing. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
The
I know
colors,
you know these
also the
things.
color. Yeah.
The colors, Queen of Sheba. And first time I ever heard about it, and I went to tell that to chase the Queen of Sheba because I know nothing about orchids that time. And when people posting, I just couldn't believe my eyes. And I'm going
Yeah,
like,
me too.
that is crazy. How can there be such have so
Yeah,
many colors in one flowers? You know what I mean?
flower. That's right.
So that's a superstar. Yeah. So you
Very, very
kind of
superstar.
yeah, it kind of get into the details, and I think up to this stage, Eucalyptus is still it is my all
Your
time
favorite.
favorite. Yes, and
Yeah.
Banksia probably is my second, and then I would say my third one is Verticodia.
Vertical.
Verticote is a very, very pretty. It's a bit like orchids and tiny, but it's so colorful. It's a most colorful flowers when you think about them. There's not
Yeah,
many
that's
flowers
great.
that produce that kind of colors. Like when they purple, they really purple. And the yellows are really yellow. I mean, the color is so intense. So I fall in love with them. And then, of course, on and on, Hykeia and orchids. I am happy to see old orchids, and it's I mean, like an Australian native flowers. It literally is endless beautiful. You never
Yeah.
get a sick of it. You just
No, you
love them.
you never get bored with this kind of flora. That's right.
Yeah, it's just we just have a boundless resource. We just have that many variety of it. We're so lucky. So you're right. You never get a sick of it, and you never get enough of it. I mean, you can look at them every year. You still just want to go grab your cameras and go photograph them. So that's kind of like a very addictive, and it's a good obsession, I think.
So now
So yes,
your life now is going, you travel a lot for reaching different flowering plants. What so do you plan in advance the travels you make for
I,
reaching
I,
the
I don't
flowering
think the
plants?
first 1 or 2 years I do planning is because I do not know what time they flower, what time, where they're growing. It has been pretty much until probably the third year. I'm starting to be more purposely know where they are. And but that time I was just travel so much because I just want to see all the flowers. I realized that they all grow in the different locations, and I realized because I go to Kings Park so much. Kings Park is my class. It is my teacher. I go there.
My,
Yes,
yeah,
I say
like
them. Then
a playground.
yes, I
uh,
learned a name from there. But once you're in the real world, and you start to realize, wow, okay, this is a bank that is growing here. It's in the, the Albany, and then there's Esperance. So you start of sort of building up this knowledge, learning where they actually the habitat, where they grow, and if you travel to Kalgoorlie, and that was the first time I realized there's a lot of actually eucalypts.
yeah.
And I didn't realize that. And I wish I did some more homework because I didn't really have this knowledge. They have lots of different eucalypts. So by the time I realized it was not enough time to actually learn. But I will go back there. Yeah. So it kind of like you travel and you meet other people and you learn. And I go to I stayed in the Mount Barker Banksia farm for a couple of days. Every morning I get up, I walk around the Banksia farm, I take photos, I learn the name. So, I mean, honestly, I probably say every Banksia already, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's a passion. But now I see them in very different place. So I have a lot of idea now. So what is the area, what they grow? So yes, I'm more planning now, but before it's not like that. Now it's good because I really do know the season. And I sometimes really want to see these things in like or maybe Sterling Range. And I will make a trip to go there, like a purposely. Before I don't have that knowledge to do it. It's good. Now, actually, 5 years down the track, I know lots of, where is the orchids, the locations, where they're growing. I know what time you go to visit them, and so is a lot of flowers. Yes, I make lots of plan now.
I see, I see. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story and your journey that led you to this world of photography and beautiful flowering plants. But if we want, for example, to follow you, do you have any initiatives that you would like to share, or maybe I don't know, courses that that you can provide, or any kind of activity that you would like to share? I think it would be very interesting for our listeners.
I think a mobile phone, if you really want to actually learn the mobile phone, how to use your mobile phone, how can make a most of a mobile phone, there is like a mobile phone photographer course available online. You can easily actually just learn, and also you can just get on the YouTube, Google, and but you really gotta actually like a sort of like a have like a bit purpose to learn. So like what is my wide lens do for me? How do I take photos for the portraits? Or how do I use a micro lens? So if you have those questions, you get on the YouTube, it's probably help you better. Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So in that way, you learn better. And simply, you can just, you know, read some information about your phone. So get to know what features you got and what lens you got and what is the videos, what you can do with your videos. So there's a lot that you can do, but you can get all this information pretty easy. But at the end of the day, I guess practice, 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 practice to make it better.
Practice and
And
practice.
yes, it is absolutely no any other short way. Practice to make better. And I really am to pretty much, I think, the third year. And my photos actually really started spoken the volume and stands out. Before, I don't think I have a good conversation. That's my eyes. I can see them. I can capture them. But I didn't really actually try to practice my skill on the use of phone. So my photo is not, the quality is not that good. But as actually I realized this problem and I started actually work on that one. And eventually your photo and everything, you know how to use the lighting, you know how to do the composition, and you also know how to use your phone. So you make sure you have a very good composition and clear, sharp photos. But it's all take a time. But it's no need to in a hurry. And then all the end of the day, it's a fun. Just enjoy the journey and don't worry about it too much about other people what they think. Running your own race, follow your own path because everyone like different things. You know what I mean? You may like flowers. Some people like an insect. Some people like a fungi. Some people like a tree bark, tree leaves, whatever. We all photograph different things. But if you keep what is make you happy is probably the most important things, and you just keep going and practice, and you get better. And then all of a sudden you probably find the doors open for you and the opportunity come to you and it's all happening. It's a natural, just let the nature take a course.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sophie. Do you have a website with your photos?
Um, I have my Facebook page called Sophie
Facebook
Xiang.
page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
smart phone photographer. No,
yeah.
smart Sophie Xiang, smartphone wildflower photographer. That's my page. So most of my photos are all there, and you can check it out. And you can actually check it out. I have a sort of a red bubbles, and you can check it out. Some of the product you can buy. You can also check some information about my workshop, and every now and then I do the
Amazing.
workshop. Yeah, but it's all
Okay.
on my Facebook page. I have an
On your
Instagram
Facebook page.
page,
Yeah.
yes, as well. So that's just
Okay.
pretty much the two main things.
Which
Yeah.
is Sophie Xiang, your wildflower photography, right? No?
Um,
What is the name
oh
of
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
Facebook page?
It's a Sophie Xiang. I'm going to show you. Show you on the Facebook. It's like this.
So lift a little
It's
bit more.
Sophie
Sophie,
Xiang.
yeah,
Sophie Xiang, Wildflower phone photographer is my Facebook page.
phone photography. Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it is important because I am a phone photographer and I'm not actually competition to other people, but I do phone photographer the best I could do. That's why I'm saying, just follow your path, um, running your own race. Don't follow other people because to me, phone is very compatible. It's very easy. And they're so cool. They can do lots of things. If you really actually understand what they can do for you, you'll be pretty amazed. So I love my phone, and I have a phone with me all the time, and that's why I can take a photo whatever it is, and I don't really take the big camera gears with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you have fun being also light and enjoying all the subjects you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to take photo of. So
Oh, it's
yeah,
phones are so easy because you can start to the social media and you can edit it on the phone. You can use the Snapseed. Snapseed is one of the best phone app, and it's free. And I learned all this stuff, and you take photo, you editing straight away, you posting on the social
oh,
media straight away. It's like it's a
amazing.
save a lot of time. There's no space to wasting. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
suits me, and I like it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sophie. It was so great to talk with you and to know a little bit more about your story and your passion, how raised and how you are enjoying this kind of marvelous passion. And congratulations for your pictures because they are stunning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and you take care.
Yeah, and also we will show maybe some of your pictures during this
Yeah,
interview if you would like to share so anyone
yeah,
can appreciate your marvelous
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, I will do that, and I will actually send you some photos. You can actually people can actually see. I'll send you some different flowers, so in that way people can see what it's all about the white flowers.
Exactly,
West Australia. Why I'm so
exactly.
crazy about it.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great to see
Yeah.
all these fine details up to the big flowers with, you know,
We definitely should
incredible
have on a queen.
colorations.
Yeah. No, I will do
Okay,
that. Well, thank you. Yeah.
okay. Thanks so much. So I
Yeah.
say bye. Ciao. And yeah,
Ciao.
maybe see you in the field, in the bush.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Ciao.
All right.